Coming live.
What's up, everybody? Jordan here with the Trailblazer Fire Tactics podcast, along with the co-host Alex Caldero. What's up?
Hello. This part is
It's
always
so
awkward.
it's so always so awkward, man, but it's cool. So today we got a guest, Sean Chapman Caldera. You want to tell us about Sean?
Yeah, this is Sean. Hello, Sean.
What's up, guys?
Um, so Sean and I have been friends for a few years. The three of us actually teach together with real fire training. And
Forest
I
training
don't know why I'm
days.
having a bunch.
Forest,
Scroll.
we do forest training brace,
Yeah, we
Smithfield
teach
truck
at Forest
class,
Training Days together. Bedford Truck School, which will now be Forest
Smithfield.
Truck School.
Yep.
Smithfield. Known each other, like I said, for a few years. Um, Sean is a 20-year experience with volunteer and career, and he's had a quite a long life of history with just all over the place. I guess we'll get into that in a minute,
All
but.
over, man.
He's currently with the Tower 21 chauffeur with Navy Region in Virginia Beach. So, Sean, tell us a little about yourself, how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, like I was born in Wales. My dad met my mom in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Um, and then they met. I was born in Wales, moved back to Florida when I was like 3 or 4, 3 years old. Grew up in Cocoa Beach, Melbourne area. Beach baby. My dad loved the beach. Growing up was a little different, having my dad as a rock star. We had a lot of people over all the time, and like from guys from Def Leppard, like we used to go to all their shows when I was growing up. Um, he was friends with Lemmy from Motorhead. Ozzy Osbourne used to live with my dad. Um, like
I mean,
it's
we're talking
wild,
to a
man.
legend right now,
Yeah,
basically. Like,
A
yeah,
legend's kid, really.
yeah,
that's
Um,
right.
but my dad got the nickname Tonka, for his indestructible qualities. If
And
you can
wasn't
only
he
imagine.
was like the lead guitar player
My
for,
dad was the lead guitarist for UFO.
that's right.
UFO. He was in a band called Wasted, another band called Lone Star, not the country band. Um, Skid Row was another band he was in, and then in 2007 he picked up one of the guitarists passed away from Molly Hatchet, so he jumped in and was playing with Molly Hatchet, which was now known as Gator Country. So we do some tours with them, go off all over Florida. They're a Florida-based band, so.
So did you like travel around with him growing up, or how did that work out with you as the kid of a rock star?
So no, we didn't do much traveling.
Okay.
There was a few shows that we went to. Um, Mostly like Florida shows when his all his friends came into town. The guys from Def Leppard. We'd
70s
always
and
go to their
80s rock bands
shows.
probably weren't very kid appropriate. Uh, anyways,
Oh yeah, well,
I saw the movie Motley Crue or
absolutely.
Crew, and it seemed like they had a wild time.
So crazy that the Motley Crue movie, right?
Yeah,
One of my dad's posters is hanging up in the dirt when they're
no
in
way.
the apartment just after they got signed. Um, when Pete Davidson signed them for their record label, they go to that apartment and they're doing drugs, and then you look up on the wall, there's a big UFO poster,
Oh
you
wow,
know. But I got pictures with my dad with Motley Crue and Ozzy and all sorts of stuff, man.
it's crazy.
yeah,
It's wild.
yeah. I
Yeah.
did.
So,
I had no
then
idea until like a few months ago. Caldera told me about that, like your dad and the his history in music and stuff. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
Chappie's dad is like a rock star, and he's like, really? And I pulled up Spotify, and I was like, yeah, look at this. This first song right here has like 100 million views,
yeah.
like or streams or whatever. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, and a lot of people, like, I tell them my dad's a rock star. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever, and that's cool until they actually like realize, like, oh shit, like for real, for real.
Oh yeah.
So. growing up in Florida, um, ever since I was a baby, my dad was like, any kind of siren you heard, you were like looking around, looking for it. Um, got into Ghostbusters when that came out. Like I was a huge Ghostbuster fan, and I like as I got older, I was like, well, I mean, what's the closest thing to a Ghostbuster? Because those aren't real. It's a fireman. So 4 or 5 years old, I was like, I want to be a fireman. Broke my arm when I was 6. My mom put on Backdraft for me. End of story.
Hooked.
End of story. That was it right there, man. That was it. I probably watched that movie from years 6 years old till I don't know 40. I'm almost 41. I probably watched that I don't know 400,000 or 500,000 times. Like it's just a
Did you
good
have
it's just a
any
good
no
movie,
family in
dude.
the fire service or anything?
No family in the fire service.
No.
I got 2 half brothers. I got a sister. My sister lives in Florida still. I got one of my brothers who lives over in England, and then one lives up in New Hampshire. Nobody in the fire service. Um, on my dad's side, my grandfather, he played guitar, you know, so growing up, my dad tried teaching me, when he when he moved to Florida, he stopped as a rock star. He started teaching guitar. So he's like, "All right, come on, let's learn something." And I'm like, "All right, I was 20 minutes in. I'm like, I'm not doing this. This ain't for me. This ain't for
Sure.
me. I don't have the patience." Um, which was kind of shitty now. Like I think about it, and I'm like, man, like I should have just learned. There ain't no telling where I'd be now, you know. Um, but I was in.
But you
I
are a
was very
fireman now,
active.
so that's
Yeah.
pretty good gig, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, and I was more active, especially like when he tried teaching me. So I was playing hockey, playing baseball, soccer, football. Like I was playing sports.
Oh
And that's what
wow.
I concentrated on. Um, then I graduated high school, man, and then turned 21. And as soon as I turned 21, I moved to North Carolina, Hendersonville, with my uncle. My uncle lived there. Um, Started volunteering at Station 17, and I was like, man, this is great. Backdraft.
Yeah.
Station 17, engine 17. Like I'm riding on an engine 17. So with that, I was there for just over a year. I was working for NASCAR. Um, my uncle was a car chief for a Busch Series driver, Jay Sauter. So I was building race cars, and man, you got to love that to do that job, because here I am at 21 years old. Like I wasn't making nothing for money. And I was like, so I
Sure.
started volunteering there, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back home to Florida. I had some buddies that were at a fire station down there that was like, we can get you in. So I moved back to Florida at 22, almost 23, and started with Indian Harbor Beach. And I was there for 8 years, almost 9 years before I got hired with Savannah Fire. I had a buddy that was a fireman with me in Florida. He got hired a year or two before me.
With
He was like,
Savannah.
man, with Savannah, yeah. So
Okay.
we were in Florida together, and then he got hired. And 2 years later, he's like, look, man, do it. So I did it, and I got
What were you
hired.
doing for a job at the time?
So I had 2 jobs. So I worked for the city of Indian Harbor Beach, which Monday through Friday I got paid to run calls.
Sure.
So I worked with Public Works. So our city was like 1.6 square miles
Oh
on
yeah.
the beach. It was
Yeah.
right on the beach. So any call we got, like I responded in a city truck to the fire station, and then most of the time drove to wherever the call was. Um, and that was great. Like it was good experience. We got a lot of brush fires. It's where my hate for brush fires came from. Nobody likes those. So, once he got hired with Savannah, I started up there, got hired, and it was a little different at first because, you know, you still had to go through a recruit class. Um, and I just kept my mouth shut. Like I had guys and they're like, oh, this is how we did it here. This is how we did it there. And I'd see the reaction of the instructors. And like those instructors were like, we don't care where you came from.
Right.
So I right then, right, I got that like first 2 days, I got that mentality. Is like, I don't know nothing. Don't know nothing. I learned Savannah Fire's way. Of graduated the academy. We do a year of probation and 3 years as a rookie because we had the 24-48 schedule. So within 3 years, it would be like 365 days. So the first year, you get rotated every 4 months to each battalion. You get put on a truck company and then 2 engine companies. Got done with that. I got assigned to Station 3, downtown Savannah, to Engine 16, which was at the time was Marine 1. So I was assigned to the fireboat and Engine 16. Eventually, Engine 16 went away. So we had Engine 3 and Rescue 1 in that house and Marine 1 still. So any Marine call, we'd take a pickup truck to the dockside and ride out there. And that was awesome. You know, for that job there, you had to be a full TRT technician. So, you know, trench, confined space, structural collapse, public safety diver, advanced rescue diver, ropes. I don't know, 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, you know, all that. You know, so being downtown with all those certs, hazmat tech, like now you're able to be on hazmat company.
I bet that was really neat at a young age in your career to be exposed to all that, like right out the gate.
So and like, and it was great, but it was a little overwhelming because like
Sure.
it went from class to class to class to class, and you weren't TDY, like you did this on duty, you know, Monday through Friday. They just get the classes knocked out, which was, I was grateful for that because it put me at a good house where we ran a lot of good calls. You know, we didn't run EMS in Savannah. They're doing it now, but when I was there, like, you know, 5 to 35 calls a shift, running everything except for EMS. So it was, you know,
What
we
a
were at a
day to
busy
be
house.
alive.
Man, and let me tell you, like that was, and I missed that job because, you know, leaving Savannah, coming here to Virginia Beach, going federal, you know, that's a culture shock.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, for a lot of people.
Sure.
You know, because here you are running all these calls, and then you go to a station, and you're like, tones don't drop some days at all. You know what I mean? You're like, oh man, you know. So, and the house that I'm at now, and so I'm in Portsmouth at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. The house I'm at is probably one of the best houses in Navy region. I got a bunch of amazing dudes I work with, all the way from the assistant chiefs to the battalion chiefs. My district chief is awesome. Um, you know, they're all firemen chiefs. You know what I mean?
All right.
Like they're not out to choke you out. You know what I mean? They're not out for bullshit, you know, which is kind of nice. But yeah, it's completely different. And you know,
So when you were in Charleston, you were in
Savannah.
Savannah. Sorry, I don't know. I keep thinking Charleston. So when you were in Savannah, you were there for how many years before you left?
Almost just just a little over almost 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you stayed at that same house the entire time we were there?
the entire time.
Okay.
I worked a ton of overtime. Actually, one year I led the whole department in overtime.
Oh, wow.
With yeah, out of 336 firemen, I think I worked 68 overtime shifts. You know,
Wow.
which led the department. And it, like, you know, most people that work for cities have other jobs, you know, besides the fire department. I had two other jobs besides the fire department, where I worked at Publix as a stock clerk, which was awesome. And
Yeah.
then I worked for Delta Airlines, marshaling planes, pushing planes out, throwing luggage, which was a benefit because I got free flights.
Wow.
You know, so I was
So
able to
you
take
were
my
able to,
kids.
I mean, in that 6 years, I can imagine in a place like that, you were probably getting quite a bit of experience
Yeah.
with just like call volume, going on random things. I mean, I'm sure you gained a lot in the 6 years you were there.
Yeah, there was a lot of sleepless nights, man. And I'd get up and go right to work till 11
Sure.
o'clock at night, 10, 11 o'clock at night, you know. Um, but I had to make a decision to where, like, working that much and being away from my family to, like, I had a friend of mine that I worked with in Savannah. He got hired up here and he got stationed at Little Creek, and he called me up. He's like, man, he goes, this is great. There's tons of overtime. The money's fantastic. We have a job fair coming up in May. You should come. And I was like, you know what? Let me give it a whirl. Right. So I was like, I banged out of work, took a free flight to Virginia Beach, and showed up at TCC here for a job fair. Came in with my resume, put my resume on the table, and the first guy that picked up my resume, he was like, "You have all these certs?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And then the fire chief came over, took my resume. He's like, "You have all these certs?" I was like, "Yeah." um, I interviewed with one of the captains. Captain was like, "Look," I was like, "Listen, man, this is what I told him right off the rip. I was like, this is what I expect. This is what I want. This is what I want to do. This is how far I want to go." And he was like, "Well, you answered all my questions." So he goes, "I don't see a reason why you're not going to get this job." He leaves, comes back 3 minutes later, says, "You're going to Norfolk Naval Shipyard on a truck company."
Oh, wow.
I said, "Beautiful."
That's right.
Right.
So
So
you packed your stuff and took off.
well, I left Virginia Beach, went back to Savannah, told the kids, told my ex-wife, it's like, "Hey, got the job." My start date was in October, so I started October. I left my children and my ex-wife there in Savannah because I had one that was a senior in high school, and I wanted him to finish out his senior year. Um, so with that came COVID, so everything went to virtual. So um, he finished school virtually, so he ended up staying in Savannah. I moved the rest of the kids up, which I have 5 boys, by the way. Um,
Whew.
my oldest one's also in the fire service. He's 25.
Wow.
He's a federal fireman also. Um, and then my 23-year-old, he stayed in Savannah. I got an 18-year-old son who's actually just turned 18 today. 14-year-old son and a 10-year-old son. So 5 boys, they all grew up in the fire service.
It was so
Um,
cool. At the Which one was the one? Did you bring
yeah, training
one
days,
to training
Mason.
days? Yeah. Chappie brought
Yeah,
his, was it the 14-year-old?
yeah, Mason. Yeah, he
Yeah,
came.
brought
He
him
came and
to training days, and it was so cool because it was like his first big like
yeah.
interaction around our group and just this type of training. It was so cool to see him out there. Like we put him in gear and like
Oh yeah.
he was having a blast. Like it was awesome. One, like me seeing you out there with him, but like it was just neat having him out there in general, just
Oh,
like his eyes
and
were soaking it up, you know.
absolutely. And he'll tell you right now. He's like, "I can't wait for Forest Truck Class."
Yeah,
he's like, "I'm going." Like
yeah,
there's no stopping. I got a set of gear for him. Like I got him fitted
yeah,
for gear. Like I got him all of it. And he's stoked. He can't wait to go to all these classes. Um, which is awesome because he grew up in the firehouse with me.
sure.
And at the volunteer house, we get buzzed out as we're getting dressed. Him being 3, 4 years old, he'd run over to the truck, start it up, and turn the lights on. Like he'd get it ready for us.
Yeah.
The cool
Um,
thing is like, he sees your day-to-day life as a fireman in your career life, but then it was really neat again for like me to see him come to see, and we'll get more into this as we talk, but like your extracurricular fire life where like we're teaching and we're going to classes and we're having like that type of fun and camaraderie and stuff that's outside of work. It was cool for him to see that side of it too, and see your enjoyment and enthusiasm there, you know.
absolutely. And the thing is like, you have we got such a tight group with these classes that we teach with, like from all the guys from Forest, from Smithfield, from Nick being at camp, like all of our guys are so tight, and him seeing that, like he was like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen." Like the way they react to you is amazing,
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, "Listen, man, like that's how it is." And that's you won't get that at every firehouse.
Sure.
That's the thing. You won't get that at every firehouse. You have guys at the firehouse who are old heads who don't want to do anything anymore. And that's fine, you know. But when you come in to these classes and even the students see our camaraderie together, which makes them want to come back to these classes because they see such a tight knit group. And not only that, but like all these classes that we go to, every class, I learn something new every time.
Oh yeah.
Every time, whether it's from the students or the instructors or even like logistics guys, like even those guys, like I learned so much. And I've been doing this now, I think I'm coming on year 5 with y'all, and it just never ends. Like I'm always learning. My wheels are always turning. I'm always like building these boxes, these cans, and doing all this stuff. Like it's incredible. And the talent that all these guys have putting this stuff together, it's just insane. You
So
know?
you came up to Navy Region, and then how did Smithfield get, like, how did you get, you started at Navy Region and then you were able to go to Smithfield? Smithfield's like it's so funny. Craven and I talk all the time.
Oh,
There,
Smith
there's a,
Vegas.
there's a Kentland in every area, right? Like
Yeah. And it's
everywhere
Smithfield
has
for us.
that one station. And I feel like Smithfield is kind of like the station around that area that's like goes to the calls, got the
Absolutely.
rigs, got the guys. So like, and again, I don't know a ton about Smithfield, but I know some of y'all have been there for a little while. So how did you get there? And
So when I first started with Navy Region, let me tell you about this first, right? So um my first shift with Navy Region, right? I get there, shift starts at 7 to 7. At that time we were on a 24/24. So we were on for 24, off for 24, and then we had, I think it was 3 day breaks every pay period or something like that. My first shift, I show up at 5:45. Here I am, a new guy, right? Wanted to make sure I get on base, no problem. Um, First thing I do before I introduce myself to everyone, and no, but nobody's even up when I show up. I start going over the truck. I'm assigned to the tower. I start opening up every compartment. I start writing everything down. What I see in each compartment, start memorizing this stuff. Roll calls right at 7 o'clock. Kind of get the gist of wake up time to making coffee to making tea, like everything that needs to be done first thing in the morning before roll call as a rookie. So we're an hour in the shift. Tones go off for an electrical fire. I'm like, all right, this is an hour in the shift. I'm like, this is great,
first
right?
shift, this
Riding,
is your first day.
yep, backwards, right? Coat on, hood up, right, ready to
So you
go.
didn't have like a
Um,
probationary or not like a period of being on days 8 to 5. You just pretty much straight went to shift.
nope, straight to the floor. Yep, there was no like all of our certified guys go straight to the floor.
Gotcha.
All right, and now they're starting to come out with a book to where you can do like a recruit book or a probationary book to where we'll go out and pull lines and see how what I mean, stuff like that for our already certified guys. But we show up to this call, right, and the whole truck company gets out, and here I am. I got a hook, a set of irons, and a water can. All right, this is what I come off the truck with, and a tick. And these guys are looking at me like, "What are you gonna do with that stuff?" And I'm like, I drop everything, and I'm like, kind of like mad now. Like nobody said anything what to bring. Like
Yeah.
you know, I
Sure.
drop everything. I was like, I don't know. You tell me what. They're like, we're at an electric fire on a submarine. I said, oh. I said, okay. I said, I didn't know what the USS San Francisco was. I didn't
Sure.
know. You know, we're going to. I'm going to a place that they call the Concrete Jungle. You know, I got 6, 7 story buildings that only have 3 levels in these buildings, you know? So you're looking at these buildings, you're like, man, that's huge, but there's only 3 floors on it. This place is ginormous. Um, so they're like, submarine calls, no tools, no water can, just a tick. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Um, so a few months into the job, I'm like, my days off, I'd go up to the hockey rink, play hockey. Um, Went into the pro shop, was asking about like hockey leagues, for old men like me. And the guy behind the counter, he's like, "Oh, you're a fireman." I was wearing a Savannah Fire shirt. I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, we have a team. It's called the Brigades." And I was like, "Sweet, I'm in." So he gave me Chris Zach's number, and I called Chris. He was like, "We're playing tonight." Met Chris. Me and Chris hit it off real well. Um, Long story short,
And at the time,
we
Chris is working at, what is it, Hampton?
no, he's working at Hampton now. He was at Virginia Beach on
Okay.
I believe Rescue 1 at that time, which is I believe Station 7 right there off of Virginia Beach and Independence. But I pulled up to Walmart right across the street and I see the guys hosing off their packs. So I text Chris. I was like, "Jobtown, huh?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You should really come out to Smithfield." And I'm like, "You know what? I will. Let me go out there. Let me see what it's about." Um,
And this is
so I
Smithfield's 100% volunteer, right?
so Monday through Friday from I think 6 to 5, we have a paid guy there.
Like a driver.
Just a chauffeur, yep.
Sure.
Just a chauffeur. And I mean, all of our chauffeurs, Brian Sanzo, um,
The
Dave
OG.
Harper, like they're all officers for paid departments. You know, Travis Dirch, like he's Portsmouth captain. Like these are all guys that you want to be around.
Sure.
So
Yep.
it's great that you have them chauffeuring you around. Um, because when you work out with the cities, like all of our Navy departments run mutual aid with the city. Um, so you get to see these guys out with the cities too. So that's good. Um, but yeah, so I started at Smithfield, and I haven't been there in a little bit just because I ended up buying a house, got married, got divorced, got married. Um,
Life.
yeah, and yeah, and always working on the house, always something. So it's been a while since I've been out of Smithfield, but we ended up just getting Jason Stallings as our new fire chief, which is he's going to expect a lot more, which is great because he's awesome. Um,
Right.
and yeah, so I don't know, I'm coming on 4 years with Smithfield. A lot of great calls with that city, the county. We run, I don't know, I've definitely seen more fires with Smithfield than I have with my paid job.
So
you know,
you started volunteering with Smithfield, and then you got, so Smithfield, for I guess whoever doesn't know, does they do have a truck school that they do every year, very well known. And that's how I got introduced to this whole network as well. Through riding at Kentland, we got invited to go to Smithfield every year to bring a few guys down. That's kind of like how I got introduced to all this Virginia crowd. We came down one year, three of us, and it just the network kind of took off from there. But Smithfield Truck School was like the beginning of it all for me. It was where I met you and everyone else, which
yeah,
and like you and I, both of our trail has taken us to the western side of the state with Bedford and all them now. So, but
absolutely.
that's how
And
so you started helping out with the truck school right pretty quick. Like, I guess it's just something the members do, or
so usually like usually like the members will fill water cans, air bottles and stuff like that, but I went straight into stoking. I was a stoker, started off as a stoker, um which was fantastic for me because going federal, like you don't see the call volume, you don't see the fires. You know, we ride a lot with the city of Portsmouth, but not the truck company. The engine company goes out a lot, catches a lot of jobs with Portsmouth, but not the truck company. We're specifically have to stay on base because we have submarines, aircraft carriers. You know, we do a lot of tech rescue, so the truck company can't leave the base
Hmm.
for calls. But yeah, so I started off as a stoker, and then now they just have me in the can doing search, can confidence. Um, we did fourth century, like they got me fourth century sometimes. Like it's a little bit of everything.
Sure.
Mayday with Sansa, like, and it's so awesome to be able to learn from these guys and be able to throw that knowledge out there to all these students. Um, but yeah, so I took Forest Training Days, their first class that they did. I took where we met Timmy Austin and Mike, little Mikey. They were doing search over. They had a house across the street, a vacant house across the street, and I met those guys over there. And then I got invited back for the next year to come help as a stoker. So yeah, being able to do that was a blessing because I was able to get in there, at least feel a little bit of heat again.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um, and
It
then
goes a
it
long
just took
way
off.
being able to, you get a little
And it
smoke
really
on your gear,
does.
I'm telling you, it'll carry you.
But and like the thing is like coming from busy departments and going to a slow one, like I'm good with everything that I've done in the fire service. I've done stuff that people will never ever get to do in their fire service. Where I've pulled animals and children and adults out of these houses. And I've got to do trench cuts and vent roofs. Like a lot of departments don't do that anymore. So it was a blessing to be able to start doing that again with Smithfield, and then going to these truck classes or training days and be able to watch these instructors do their thing. Just what I think it was Blacksburg that we went to.
Yep.
We stayed at the firehouse there.
Oh yeah. And it's been neat because it's given um like the last podcast we talked about, and even kind of what we're talking about in this one is um you're we can get bogged down. I said it in the last one, and I'll say it again here. Like, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And like, it's also a roller coaster at times. So you hit highs and you hit lows, and you hit highs and you hit lows. And I think that's life in general that we hit that. But then not only do you hit that in life, but then you're also having your highs and low roller coaster in the fire service as well. So like, it's just a super unique because like I could be hitting super highs in life, but like at work, I'm hitting lows. And then like at work, I'm hitting super highs, and in life, I'm hitting lows. Or you might hit the peak at
Absolutely.
both at the same time, and then that's just like
Yeah.
we're having a great time. But you also may hit the low at both times, and so it's unique. I mean, and this is the reason Craven and I do this right here is talking. It helps to talk about things. It helps to keep our minds clear. Other people are going through stuff too. Um, and talking about things helps you um, kind of figure it out. Like if we just sit here and I just sit by myself and I'm like, what do I do in this situation? I don't know what I had to do, which is why I'm thinking like this in the first place. And then the three of us get up here and talk, and boom, now we can find some answers, or at least share light.
Absolutely.
And like that's kind of what
Yeah.
these classes. So, like for me, I was volunteering at Kentland. We got invited to go down to Smithfield. I taught a class in Smithfield, and then Forest Training Days popped up. They asked me, "Hey, come to Forest Training Days," and then all the guys are there. You're there. Everybody's there. We taught Forest Training Days, and then it's like, "Hey, come back to Bedford Truck School." Boom, go to Bedford Truck School, help with that one, and then it just like took off from there.
Takes off.
Where we're
Yep.
now,
Now
we all teach with real
now
fire training.
real fire training.
Yep. And it's
And
been
it's
neat to have this like network. It's been neat to have this family, the brotherhood that's like, um, so outside of just work, that, it's we have group chats. We
And
talking on days off. It's like Craven and I talked about that in the last podcast. Like we have you and I talk every single day on a platform somewhere, whether it's Snapchat, text message group, Instagram Reels. Like,
absolutely. And those are highs for me.
oh
Like
yeah.
that's high for me. Like, there's nothing more where I'm able to talk to my buddies. Like nobody lives close. Like, I mean, Austin, Nick, Chakowski, like they all live close to me, and we all hang out here. But like, getting together with you guys, like, and being able, like, in another county, another city, just it's just amazing. Um, you know, and you're talking about lows in life, like, I got pushed out of my house shortly after I moved my ex-wife and kids here, and I became a living at Smithfield. And that was low, because here I am, like, going to work. I have to pay all of her bills still, getting off of work and going to a firehouse, which is fantastic. But, like, I was court ordered where I can only see my kids every other Sunday. And it was just like, man, this is bothering,
And you still have to
and
find a way to be
like no
focused at
help.
work. Like,
Absolutely. And it's rough, because a lot of firemen, like, we go through this, and it's rough. A lot of firemen get divorced, and, like, you know their spouses take half of their shit. Like, I pay $4,000 a month for my ex-wife, and it's depressing at times. But now, like, I'm more happy than I've been within my past 15 years of my last relationship. And with her, I married Courtney in December, and this chick is absolutely unbelievable. And, like, coming home, like, I'm not bogged down. Like, you know, she is understanding. She's a nurse, so she understands the job. She understands the camaraderie. Like, she came to forced training days with me,
hmm.
and she's like, and she'll post. She's like, there's nothing more awesome watching my husband do what he loves with the crowd of people that he gets to do it with. Like, she
That's
goes, this
another
is
thing
amazing. Like,
that's so unique. And Craven and I, you talk about relationships at times, but like it's all guys are different, all women are different. And like it's some may never understand, but like it is a very wholesome thing being in a relationship where like they don't have to
they're
understand.
interested.
And I don't expect like them to fully understand what they do. But what you just said right there, like if they can at least be like, hey, it was really cool seeing you have like such a passion and happiness. Like when they get to actually see that and they are vocal about it, like
Yeah.
it is awesome seeing you happy and passionate about something. I'm telling you, that's a high in a
Yeah,
relationship.
you're getting that support.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you get support, and that's something, not saying a lot of guys don't, because there's a lot of women out there that do support the guys, but like we need support at times, and like,
Oh yeah, no,
um,
100%.
And that was to, like, for an example, like, my first truck class that I was invited to at Bedford, I couldn't go because I was threatened.
Yeah.
Like, if you go, we're done.
Mm.
And I was like, wait, what? Like, you were supposed to come with me. Like, she's like,
right.
I don't want to go. Like, and it's just horrible that it
Yeah.
had to, be that way. And then, I didn't go. I was always trying to do the right thing. And now with my wife now, she's like, go have fun. Go do what you do. Like, this is amazing.
So
Have fun doing it.
with you and not like we're going down like a relationship trail now,
Yeah.
but whatever, we're
Hey,
gonna wrap now.
I'm
So in being in a relationship, you've been in several, right? So it's like from the last relationship you're in to the one you're in now, and from you being a younger person to now as like a mature 41-year-old man, how have you changed personally with like within the relationship? Like Craven and I have talked like you're going to these classes, are you having to just be super intentional about time with your wife now? Or like, how do you find the balance with work, extracurricular classes, and still being in a relationship and keeping it happy on both sides? Like, what do y'all do to keep, you know?
So we're coming on 3 years together, right? And we've had little arguments, like
Sure.
real minute stuff, but we haven't fought. We haven't, argued fully blown out, like, and it's been nice because, I told her right from the rip, like, look, I'm not doing this. Like, this is what I expect. This is what I want. And she said the same thing to me, and I respected that. She respects me, and I invite her to every class. She's always welcome to come to these classes. Um, and if she doesn't want to go, she doesn't have to. If she wants to come, absolutely. And getting off work, there's times where we do run 2 or 3, 4 after midnight, and getting home, she's like, "Go back to bed." Like, and it's different for me because that was never an option before.
Sure.
She's like, "Just relax today. Don't do anything." And us, we can't not do anything. So, I ended up knocking out all this stuff, and the biggest thing is she appreciates everything that I do
Sure.
as I of her. Everything that she does, I appreciate.
So it helps
We
like communicate, I guess, like just mutual respect is like a big thing.
absolutely, and
Communication.
like, you know, we enjoy going thrifting together. Like, that's a thing. Like, and I dig it. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, and that's what she loves to do. So I'm gonna do it with her. You know,
Right.
and it doesn't bother us. It doesn't bother me. Like, my last ones, it was, I can never go out with the guys. This one's like, hey, just text me when you get home. Call
Sure.
me, text me when you get home. When we're in Blacksburg, just text me when you go to bed. That's all she wants to know is that I'm safe.
Right.
You know, and that's incredible to have that. But yeah, and yeah, this rabbit hole of relationship. Like,
Look, I
I'm
was gonna
I'm
say, look,
literally.
y'all have had it going, son. I've been trying to get words in. I'm like, no, this too good. Like,
And here's the thing is like, people would be going through this stuff at the firehouse and would ask me for advice. And I'm like, look, man, like, I'm the last person that you want to ask because, like, I'll tell you how it is. Like, I mean,
yeah.
um,
But
and
when
and
you've
that
been through a
rough
lot,
part of my life.
yeah.
What
I say
what's that?
when you've been through a lot of stuff, you can give good advice. People can come to you, and you have the ability to give them, something, even if.
Absolutely. And it was rough, but I try to give the best that I can to everybody. But yeah,
Well,
so
I wanted to ask, like, whenever you transition from Savannah to being a federal firefighter, obviously it's going to be a change of pace, right? Culture shock. Um,
absolutely.
did you have challenges or struggles with that transition, or did you have any second thoughts about going there? Like, did you realize what it was going to be, or did you know what you were getting into?
So I didn't know what I was getting into.
I'm not
I
saying that
didn't know what it was going to.
change of pace,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I didn't know what it was going to be like. So coming there, um, the shipyard is the place to be. Everybody wants to be at the shipyard because we run calls. We run a lot of mutual aid, like I said, with Portsmouth. Um, so it was all a culture shock. Um, I was having second thoughts. A month in, 2 months in, before I left Savannah Fire, we got a new fire chief. And me and him, because being downtown, our fire chief was at our station, our headquarters. So we hit it off real well. And every once in a blue moon, he'd text me like, "I'm ready for you to come back." And I was like, man, it's nice to feel wanted like that. Especially from a chief of a department of a ISO rated class 1. We have 15 stations. I think it's like 486 square miles. Like, it was a big place. Um, and one of the union vice president before I left Savannah was like, "Look, man, I worked with him at Delta also." He's like, "Look," he's like, "I want you to think real hard about this." He goes, "The relationships that you've built here in Savannah, working this much overtime, working with everybody in the department. There wasn't one person I didn't work with. Working all the overtime." He was like, just make sure this is something that you want." I was like, "Mike," I was like, "Look, man," I was like, I'm burning myself out working 3 jobs, 7 days a week, going from the city to the federal side. It's a lot slower pace and the pay is incredible. Now, needless to say, I just have one job, you
Okay.
know, and, and, and it's fantastic because I get more time with my kids. I have my 14-year-old, he lives with me. I get more time with him. First thing I do when I get off shift, we go to the gym, straight up, right to the gym. I wake him up when I get home, take a ride right to the gym, or we'll go out to a soccer field. Place he's a soccer player, so we'll go play some soccer. I try to keep him active. Um,
I'll tell you one
but
thing that communication, and you said something earlier, it's nice to know that you're thought of or whatever. Like, when like the chief texted you, was like, is there anything you can do to come back? Like, yeah, not really, because I'm gone, but like
yeah,
it's still nice to hear from them, like you're wanted basically. And like everybody wants to feel wanted. Like I don't care, Jocko is hard as crap, and
Oh
like
yeah.
he still wants to be wanted, right? Like he still wants,
absolutely.
he has support, but like last year I've gone through a lot of uh, changes, I guess, in the last year and a half. But last year, I quit working for the town of Winterville and went to work for the city of Durham, and like that was one of the most like, oh my God, life-altering things. I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be, it's like I'm changing my name basically. It's weird, but um, I had went in and had a meeting with my captain, and then my captain brought my assistant chief in there, and I kind of told him what was up. I'm just like, hey, look, I'm putting my 2 weeks in. I got hired with, or I have a job offer with the city of Durham. Um, and I need to make this move. Like it's for me, it's for personal career growth. Just I'm ready to make this move. And of course, they threw at me you sure about this? This is what you want to do? Like there's opportunity here, blah blah blah. All the stuff that they're supposed to say. But the cliche thing that was not said, that like all those things are cliche. Like, oh, you sure you want to go? Is there anything we can do to keep you here? The one thing that like made me want, I would go to hell and back for this guy, is the assistant chief looked me in the eyes and he was like, after they run me around the room a few times of, is this what you want to do? Are you sure? And after I was like, yes, 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 yes. He looked at me and he's like, I'm asking you one more time. You want to do this? And I was like, yes. And he was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna keep hounding you with what can I do to keep you here. He said, and I'll never forget this. He says, it's my job now as your leader to help you get to your goals and to get you where do you want to be. And I was like, oh my God, okay. And then he was like, if the Durham Fire Department is where you want to go, I'm going to help get you there in whatever the way I can. He was like, if I need to help you write a letter, whatever the case is, and not in a weird way, he was like, but truly as your leader, I'm here to support you in success in Alex Caldera's life. So if this is the decision you want to make and this is where you want to go, I'm going to help you get there. And I'll help you through the transition process too. And I'm just like never in my life, leaders don't say that. Like that's not something like a leader says. And I was just like, this is insane that he said that. And
But see, that's also somebody who cares about you,
yes, right.
and that's just like, damn, like that makes me feel good. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he wants me to be here still, but he's willing to do whatever needs to be done to get me to where I need to go.
right.
And that's fantastic. And that's how I felt with this fire chief. Even some of my battalion chiefs that I worked for were like, look, man, like we could use you here. Like
Yeah.
think about this long and hard. And it's nice, you know, to have that feeling of being wanted. And even like I still keep in touch. He left Savannah Fire. That chief, he left Savannah Fire. He's working in Westminster, Colorado, as the fire chief. But I think he just retired. Um, and I still keep in touch with him. You know, and it's crazy because I still got guys from Savannah who reach out like, "Hey, man, come back, come back, come back to training. Come do training with me." Like, I'm like, no, like, absolutely not. I'll send him my pay stub. Like, look, dude. Sorry about your luck. You can't match that, you know? But, again, like, let's be real. The only reason why I went federal was for the money, and um, the the teaching is what gets me through this job now, you
Yeah.
know, being able to go to these classes and do these things. Um, like I said, I'm good with everything that I've done.
That's the unique part of
I don't ride the
volunteer. Like Craven and I's side conversations a lot we have is like, so you got guys that will go from wherever, right? Like we've got a guy at Winterville that he was working in Durham, great engine company, like going to fires, loving it, and makes a move to Winterville for family purpose. Like he obviously didn't leave Durham to come to Winterville to go to more fires, right? Which is okay.
yeah,
It's not a bad department. It's just like our area doesn't isn't going to as many as where the engine company was assigned to in the city of Durham. But like he made a move for his
absolutely.
family, and sometimes you have to do that in life. Like sometimes, like I left from Durham and went back to Winterville. Um, it was very different for me. The schedule, commuting, and just like the way kind of like I live my life
Yeah.
is a little crazy, but I'm all over the place. But the schedule at Winterville gives me a lot more opportunities to kind of do what I do in my life. But like guys go from place to place for different reasons, and sometimes you have to sacrifice like working where you're at to get more money, more benefits
More
for your
time with your
family,
family,
more time with the family.
benefit.
Like you see so many guys that are doing that. They're like taking pay cuts or whatever to get more time with the family or whatever the combo is, right? Whether it's more money, better benefits, more, time with the family, a slower
Yeah,
pace. But there's always a common denominator, and it's we're having to sacrifice a little
Yeah.
bit of just
Yeah.
fireman happiness. So like,
Yeah, I mean, I've joked about it before, but sometimes I joke that I sold my soul, to be able to provide a little bit more for my family in the sacrifice of being able to go to fires. And I found that pretty hard at times, especially when I first went. The first little bit of a transition, I guess it's like the honeymoon phase. You're new, you're still trying to figure things out. But then after time, you realize, I mean, this happened to me 3.5 years ago, working in my hometown for 15 years or so, going to fires, a little kind of, ghetto town, and then transition to a nicer area, nice equipment, nice truck, nice everything. But, with all that, that brings way less call volume, way less fires. And I really struggled after the honeymoon phase kind of wore off because it was like I was started getting this rut, realizing not going to fires. Then I started feeling like you know, I want as good of a fireman, all this stuff is starting to play through my head because I'm not going there anymore. I've had experiences, but I'm not doing it anymore. I'm trying to stay relevant as hard as I can, but like I can't, I don't know. And then, you see Calder, he's on like a fire every day of the week somewhere. It's like, man, so
I wish.
oh yeah.
well, it seems like you're
Well,
internet famous. But
yeah. Well, I mean, end of that too is like as young as we were starting this career, like that's all we ever wanted,
yeah,
But there comes a point in your life where you're like, man, like you have to weigh the outcomes. Like for me, it was being able to spend time with my family, make more money, So you're like, okay, well, running jobs or my family, like my kids are more important to me than anything in this world,
100%.
And if I have to stop going to fires, like that's fine with me, and I'm good with that. But again, like with that though, like you got less chances of getting hurt. You got less chances of line of duty deaths. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff, and that's what you see for your children. Like and it sucks. You're
Yeah,
not going to
sure.
jobs.
Sure.
You know, but again, like this is where you're able to come to these classes
Yeah.
and get into some heat and getting to actual like teach people that are learning this job or like we've had I mean shoot we have chiefs coming to take these classes, we have lieutenants and captains like and they're looking at us for advice, which is awesome, you know and being able to do that, like I'd take the classes, teaching the classes over running calls
Oh yeah. Well,
to
I'm
be
with
able
you
to
on that.
to
Yeah.
to be able to spend more time with my family.
oh yeah. And I was
You know what
in
I mean?
I was working three jobs essentially before I went where I am now. I was going all the time, working 100 and some hours a week between three different fire departments. And
Yeah.
essentially when I transitioned to where I'm at now, I was making the same amount at one job that was at three jobs. So like I
Yep.
was able to cut back. I was able to spend more time with my family. Um, and I think, me and Colt, once again, we talk about stuff like this all the time, but it's just you got to keep your mindset in the right place. You got to talk to people because, like, it is a struggle sometimes, when you maybe the culture is different or the people are different that used to work with, or they have different mindsets. And I'm really bad, or have been. I think me and Calder, we talk like every day, like we're married now or whatever, like, or we're dating, but like I'm really bad at times, and people are probably in general just balling things up and just grinding on, trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out. And then 6 months goes by, and like you realize you've been in a rut for this long, and like you really haven't done anything to fix it other than like internalize it. And so, like, mindset, I think that's one thing I really believe in. Like the mindset that you keep and have is really key to everything that you're going to do. But in order to get in that good mindset, you really gotta, sometimes just reaching out. Like I said, I was just a ride along, essentially going to Forest the other year. Like Zach was on the podcast and he's like, "Hey, you can come down." I was just gonna go hang out. And everybody down there was super cool. And like
Oh,
weekends like that, I mean, you go to a class or conference or something, you get recharged, but then when you get to interact with guys like you and Zach, all the crowd from Forest is like, I don't know, it gets you back in that right state of mind. And
absolutely. Like you come back a different
oh
person
yeah,
after these classes.
yeah,
After every class, you come back and you're like, that was fantastic. Let me go push it at work.
yeah,
You know?
And that's whether you're taking it or instructing at it. Like we are just at the point in our career where we're starting to be teaching at classes, right? Like we're at the point that like that's where we are. But like even for the guys that are going to take the classes, like we still all three take classes. It may not be as much as we're going to help teach somewhere, but like these guys that are coming and taking them too, like that is a huge recharge. Like up until the last couple of years, that's all I've done is I'm the one going and taking the classes. And like you would go, I always used to hear like Craven's older than me, so like
yeah,
he would go to these like Andy Fredericks and things like long before I ever knew about him. And I would always hear him just talking about it, like, man, we go to Andy Fredericks and we have a good time, and we're racing the scooters in the town at
yeah,
night. I mean, it's just like going and attending
Absolutely.
like can be a huge recharge of because you're still doing the fire service, but it's not the stressors of work. And that's why I like, like the fun about a volunteer firehouse, just the right one, like I happen to be involved with Kentland and I'm forever grateful that it was, God put it in my life. But like I'm able to go there and have not have the stresses of work, but like have a bunch of fun still in the fire service. It's like going to a class. I can go to Andy Fredericks. We can learn, you're networking, you're sharing stories, but like you're still having fun. And it is just a recharge, and it helps your mental health tremendously by getting out and even going solo. Like I have taken several solo classes where I didn't go with friends of mine. And dude, that's a whole new dynamic too, because like that's just awkward. The first night when you go out to the restaurant or the bar, you're
You're
like,
by yourself.
you're by yourself. Like, I don't know any of these.
You're
There's 100
like looking
firemen.
around
I don't
like,
know any of them. But then, dude, like after a couple hours, everybody's this big friend group. I mean, it's like, it's so unique, just getting out and like the consensus is of the last podcast and this one, and we can all put it to is like, you got to have something extra outside of work. And like, whether it like, you don't have to have all these avenues like the three of us have, but even if like you're, like me, my captain, and my fireman have a Snapchat group chat. So like we will just Snapchat each other on our days off of just whatever we're doing, and it's fun because it's like we've taken it's not captain, engineer, fireman now. It's kind of just like the three of us are buddies, and we're just sending each other whatever random crap we're doing that day, and it almost just makes it fun.
yeah,
And then like you and me are in three different group chats, and like that's just
yeah.
fun. We do talk about fire service sometimes, but sometimes we're just cutting up. And it helps like when I am bogged down and Craven and I are in a group chat from some guys that work in like Raleigh and his area. And like there was one day there was a snowstorm, and I drove from Winterville to Durham,
Yeah.
and then we have a guy named TJ. TJ drove from Kinston to
Cary.
Cary, and he and I were the only two commuting to work that day. And like, as much as I didn't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go drive through the snow, but like somehow through all that, like we were just sending snaps the whole way of like commentating our drive through the snow.
Yeah.
Like we would pass a
And
car, we'd
and
be like, "Oh, look, that's what." And then like it was fun for us, but then like Craven and them wake up, they had a shitty shift. They're whatever down in the dumps, and they wake up and they start opening them, and then it's just like it's what do you call it, dopamine?
Yeah, it's dopamine. That's
But
right.
like it
Makes
gives
sense.
you a boost to where these avenues help. And like I don't think people realize this enough. Like Craven and I talked about the other day, you have guys that are almost like ready to hang the towel up in their fire service career or ready to give it up. TJ, heck, he hit that point at one time, and we
Yeah.
literally had like I don't even know what do we do with him in the bay. That he told us one of our buddies that actually started this
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. Me and him started it together, and
He told us he was ready to quit and be a pilot.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, and then we went to a fire, and he totally changed his.
Dude, we went to a ripper that night, and he was like fully recharged.
yeah.
Uh,
And sometimes that's what you need,
yeah.
and for me, like there's been a few times where I've chauffeured the engine out in the city of Portsmouth, and we've gotten structure fires, making second due in with doing search with a truck company, your truck one Portsmouth, and it's such a great feeling. Such a great feeling, especially as you're walking in and truck one's pulling somebody out of the house. Like you're like, man, this is what I was like, this is what I was meant to do. Like this is my job. Like there's nothing else like this job.
Yeah.
I don't care the military, like this is the best job on the planet by far.
That's something that like and again, you have to keep yourself connected with people or your island is not strong enough to keep your mental health fully in check all the time. Like I don't care who you are, like again, Jocko himself needs friends to help him pull himself out of like when he gets to be an island. But like Craven will call me and hey, I got this going on. And same thing. Like I might be like, that does suck, but like, dude, we're on the job. And like or me vice versa. I'll call him, this is wrong, this is wrong. And he's like, dude, but you like, dude, you're still a fireman, you're still on the job. And sometimes it takes
Yeah.
a friend
Yeah.
telling you that, and you kind of can step back and be like, damn, you're right. This still is the best job in the world. Let me just remember that for a second.
Yeah.
And to that too is like it's like I tell people, I'm like, they're like, why? Like, I don't understand. And people that don't understand when I'm done explaining it to them, they're like, well, I see why you have the best job in the world, because there's nothing like going to work. And I'm coming on 20 years in this fire service, and I love going to work still. I love getting up at 5:30 in the morning, driving to work, jamming out to my music, pulling into the base, right? Parking my car, getting out, walking upstairs,
Get a
getting
cup
my
of coffee.
coffee, right? Or my drink of choice, whatever, and the camaraderie in the kitchen, because that's where we all sit first thing in the morning, right?
Dude,
Before roll call.
the the crazy combo I heard of is the what do they call it? A blue collar mimosa. Have you ever tried one of those?
I never even heard of it.
It's like you do, whatever mimosa, champagne and orange juice. You get you a thing of orange juice and like a Red Bull, and it's like a breakfast mimosa with energy drink. Like, boom,
So
get you to start off the morning right.
then yes, I've had one because I've mixed white monsters and orange juice at breakfast time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's the thing too, is like, as I tell these people, I'm like, what other job can you show up to that you enjoy doing?
Oh yeah.
Hanging out with your friends, cooking every day, whether it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or breakfast and dinner, or just like, I cook. There's 17 of us at my station.
Whew.
I cook for the whole fire department. And even when I travel out to other bases or other districts, I'm always willing to help cook or cook for them. A lot of people I don't trust cooking. So that's why I step in and do it
Raven's the
myself.
type that would probably make mac and cheese and cut up hot dogs in it.
I do
Oh
good.
yeah.
I do good with spaghetti, man. I really do.
I have never seen Craven cook before, but he always be willing to
I
eat. But
I
I
had
don't
just
I don't know if I
just
trust him cooking.
last shift I'm like, one of the medics was like, thank God you're here. We
know.
had they had the night before they had, I think it's like a 20 pack of hot dogs. It's a red and white packaging for like $6. They're like, that's what we had last night.
Yeah.
And it was awful. And that also makes you feel good, that people want your cooking.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, I don't mind making a good gravy, you know, making a good sauce,
Yeah,
meatballs. Like I love cooking, man.
yeah.
Um, but and you get to sleep. Like we sleep all night most of the nights, so people kind of understand like where I come from, having the best job on the planet, being able to hang out with your friends, being able to cook and eat together. And, you know, we play a lot of cards in the kitchen. We got guys that play video games. Um, we all go to the gym and play basketball together. Like it's just a good time. And I don't know what, like, I don't even know what I'd do if I wasn't a fireman. Like I wouldn't even
Bro,
know what to do.
I'm
You
telling
know,
you, I have no idea what I'd do in life.
prior to my fire service, I was turning wrenches. And being in Florida, it was hot as shit. And I don't mind working on cars. Like I work on cars for the guys at the fire station. I don't mind helping them out, but I don't want to do that for a job. So like if I left this, I don't even know what I'd do. And that's what makes you think like I can retire at 57 years old. And for me to be able to retire at 57, I start thinking like I'm 40, almost 41. And I start like I'm thinking now, like, what am I going to do after I retire? So I started getting my classes for fire inspector, because fire inspector, you can work past 57 as a fire inspector. And if that's what I got to do to stay in the fire service, that's what I'm going to do. And the good thing about that though is that's a Monday through Friday job. From 7 to 3. So if that's what, like, at 57 years old, if I don't, if I make it that far, that's what I'm going to do. you know. But I don't think I ever want to leave the fire service. I'll still volunteer. You know,
And that's the great part about the
so
job is like, you know, it- I don't care who you are, no matter how much you say, people say they just clock in and clock out. Being a fireman is part of just who you are. It's like a genetic makeup, like, and a lot of professions are that way, like a guy that's a banker, like he may have extracurricular life, but you know him as a banker, and like we're known as firemen, but like it is like our makeup when we're out and about. Like
Yeah, I mean,
bankers don't drive around and drive by another bank and like, oh, I wonder how much money there's, like we,
yeah,
Raven and I used to tell them about
yeah.
driving around Kinston,
Oh yeah. Well, my hometown here, we'll ride around, or we have in the past, and we'll go downtown and walk into alleys, walk into behind the old businesses, like the Main Street USA type area, and just talk about places I've been fires at and just different things. And
yeah, like we're kids, like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
what a fire was blowing out that window right
yeah,
there, and
yeah. Nah, it's fun though. That stuff's fun.
yeah,
that stuff
absolutely.
keeps it,
And
it does keep you going a lot. And again, that's like the thing. Like, what can keep you going at the end of the day when it's a roller coaster and a marathon? Because I'm not just sprinting quick A to B. I mean, like, and
your people is what's going to keep you in check.
people is what keeps you going. Because again, you
Your
go
people,
through
your
so
people
much in this
are
thing
going to keep you in check.
career. The having the friends, the friend groups, um, being able to ask for help, like holy crap, nobody likes to do that. But I
Yeah,
mean, it like even just Craven and I, we get to points where we want to be quiet, and like I mean, I'll force it out of him, he'll force it out of me. Like hey, we need to talk. We like talk to me about it. Like, or I'm just going to hound you till you say something. Like, I'm not going to let you not get this off your chest or get something off your chest. Look, Mikey literally texted me yesterday. It was his birthday, right?
Yep.
And Mikey, we had on the
Yeah.
podcast, right? I texted him yesterday. I was like, "Happy birthday," and he texted me back, and he was like, "Hey, thanks or whatever." And he was like, "Let me give you a call sometime in the next few days." He was like, "I was listening to y'all's last podcast, and it sounded like you had a few frustrations. I just want to check on you, make sure you're good." And I was just like,
Wow.
"I'm gonna kiss that guy in the mouth," you know, like he is. That is
Absolutely.
just. It's just keeping your,
And
like, just checking in on your buddies. Like, that's the brotherhood that we talk about. That is, what it's.
and the thing is what did I send you a Snapchat yesterday and you were like, I need to come over to that pool.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, here's the thing, like for you guys, for all of my door's open, man. Like you guys don't even need an invite. Show up, you know? That and I would never ever not want you guys not to. You know what I mean? Like I encourage it. Like my friends come over all the time. Come over. You don't even need. You can walk right in. I don't care. Even if I'm not home, you're riding by. Come in, grab a beer, Coke, whatever. You know.
Well, and that, like, that thought and mindset too. Sometimes I think either guys don't fully understand or they lose sight of the mission. Like, not like you're joining a gang here, but like the fire service is literally like you're joining a gang. Like and it's just something that you got to be committed to the rest of your life. Like for somebody that's just like, oh, I just work there and these are just my work colleagues. Like, no, it's not, because at the end of the day, again, as much as Craven's got going on in life, or Joe Blow's got going on in his life, he's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got all this going on. Like, we still have to find a way to make time for each other or checking on each other, or like, again, like you said, hey, we're going out to dinner tomorrow night, and your wife's like, oh my God, I really don't, babe, we haven't eaten with the guys out of work in 3 months. Like, we need to go. And sometimes you have to like do that with your family too, of like, hey, we need to do this, or hey, babe, the guys are coming over on Saturday. They're going to come over and drink beers for a couple hours, and we're going to cook steaks. And like, you need to do those things sometimes. It's not normal for people to see what we see, go through what we go through, endure what we deal for 30 years. Like, normal people aren't supposed to do what we do and see what we see and the stress that we endure for 30 straight years. I need
Absolutely.
the camaraderie and the brotherhood and all these things. Like, we need those things, because when that starts lacking, you see it. The writing's on the wall. The trust starts to deteriorate at work. Crews aren't bonded like they used to be. Everyone's out for themselves. Like Craven and I've talked to this. Like, you have departments where it's a dog eat dog world. Nobody gives a shit about the other person. Everybody's out for everyone else, and like
And
it.
you really hate to see that too. You
Yes,
know,
yeah,
because I see it at work. I see it at other stations. And it's depressing. You're like, man, I don't want to be stationed here
Yeah.
with this. This is only a four-man crew, and like the way they are at each other, like they don't eat together. They don't sit at dinner together. Like they don't cook. Like nothing. You know, you show up and like everybody's gone. You're like, I don't like that's something I don't want to be a part of.
right.
You
But
know?
at the end of the day, like, I still got to, this is the same guy. I got to be able to give my last breath to this guy.
Yeah,
Like, I can't even go
abs-
eat with him at the dinner table. Like,
and 100%
I
agree.
mean,
And that's insane to me. Like, and I guess it's more different on the federal side because they don't have the call volume. You know, I go to, I've worked at every station here in Naval Region, and I'd probably say 98, 99% of the time, the first thing I'll do after truck checkoffs and put my gear in the truck, I'll go check their logbook, right? And I'll just kind of get an idea of what they've been doing, what they've been seeing, and how many calls they've already had that year. You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy to see like one of the stations up at Yorktown last year for 2024 only had like 140 calls. you know, for the whole
pretty
year.
rough.
And yeah, and like I'll look at our logbook. I think we're just at 1,200 now. and that's a lot of calls for one base, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but like I don't want to be stuck at a slow station ever in my career. I say slow, meaning 140 calls a year. You know what I mean? And
But if you
the
are stuck at the
camaraderie of
slow
those
station,
stations.
you got to find ways to still keep up the morale or camaraderie or whatever. Because like we can train and do different things, and like you got to find an avenue somewhere. If you got put out there, you got to find an avenue to where you can still keep your sanity clear. You know, like whether it's your go to a class, extracurricular activity, friend groups, volunteer house, something like you need to be involved somewhere.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna get
Absolutely.
bogged down. It will win over you. Like it's gonna swallow you
Yeah,
up before you're
absolutely.
able to conquer, that. So,
Yeah. And the thing is like I got new guys now, like not even new to the fire service, but that are willing to go be stationed out there. And I'm like, you're gonna rot.
Yeah.
Like that's a horrible. I don't understand why you'd want to do that to yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But again though, like starting 20 years ago to now, the fire service has changed completely. 100% has changed. Like the stuff we get away with a lot to doing stuff to each other, like a lot of the haze, like there's no more hazing. There's no more of that. Like I'll send videos of me scaring everybody at work. Like I scare this shit out of everybody. Like that's my thing. Like I'll scare, I got all these different kinds of masks, and it's loved. Like everybody loves it. Like my assistant chief, I'll scare him. Like I've got party poppers and I've popped them. You know what I mean? Like it's fun. Um, but like the way some of these kids now, I say kids, like they'll never understand the fire service like we did when we first started. The old heads that I have at my station aren't like the old heads from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where you'd be out just doing stuff all day. You know, I got like it's just wild some of the stuff that I've seen within the past couple of years for a slow department. You know,
Yeah.
not once people would complain about the city. We had like politics stuff people would complain about, but I'm not. That's not me. I don't care about that stuff. As long as I get a paycheck, I'm able to go to jobs and I'm able to provide for my family. Like that's how I thought in Savannah. The politics, I don't care about. Absolutely none of it. Um,
you talk
here's a
about
lot.
the old guys stuff. Like again, I come up in a different fire service. I'm 29. I'm turning 30 August 9th, and you are 41. Craven's
37.
37. So like even our gap of the fire service is very different. But like Craven tells me all the time stories of the old guys when he first started.
Yeah.
Same thing. But like the thing that guys have to remember is because from my perspective of watching guys y'all's age is it's just so different than the way we came in. It's so different. This is how the guys were when we came in. This is how it was when we came in. Well, guess what? Like you're those guys now, or you're turning into those guys now. So like the fun at the
Absolutely.
firehouse, like from time to time, Craven would come in one time with a freaking thing of water balloons. Like again,
Yeah.
just doing some dumb shit like that. But like not only,
Yeah.
but also being the senior guy, like I know it's a weird transition, but like at some point we either like it's shit or get off the pot type thing. You got all the guys, and I see that again, it's just my perspective of y'all's age group where you've been like the 18 to 20 year mark. It's always like, but this is how it was, but this is how it was. Well, that's over with. It's so far over with. We got to focus on now, and you guys have got to start transitioning to be those older influencers in the firehouse for the young guys coming up. Because if if y'all's age group just doesn't do it, then who will? Like then they're not
Uh,
getting anything. I'm not getting anything. I ask Craven for advice all the time because like I need it. I need advice from y'all. And it's like at some point in your career, you've got to transition to be like, all right, it's me now. And I got to start passing it on. And I know we've gone off topic a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
but like if he's in a bad state of mind, then what state of mind is that going to put me in? What state of mind is it going to put the new guy in?
Yeah.
And that's like
Yeah.
this domino effect that's going to take place versus if he's passing stuff along to me and I'm learning and it's encouraging and then I'm passing on to the new guy. I mean, it's like we can all keep this thing going like it was when you guys started.
Yeah. I started
I,
at,
I guess
go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead.
I'm here for you, brother. Go ahead. Let's see.
I guess what I'm saying is like for new guys to start in a federal department, it's a lot different. But I 100% agree with as us becoming the older guys in the department that we got to keep this going. And 100% agree. But when you get guys who are just showing up just to do the job and not caring about the job, sorry, my mom's calling me.
Hey, Ma, what you need?
Blocked.
The meatloaf.
Hey, ma. But yeah, like I guess what I'm saying is their drive on. Like for you, Alex, being 29 years old, like you have the drive, you have the motivation, you have the willingness to learn, and you want to learn, and you want to do more, and you want to be better. Like a lot of these people aren't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these people coming into the federal side, like they just see it as a paycheck.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
there's a
and
difference
then
in fire service from back then and now, just with the sheer amount of people that are applying for fire jobs, So in my mind, that is relating to some of the stuff that you see coming in or some of the mindsets of the people coming in. I don't know what the correlation is, but it's definitely a big difference. I mean, fire
well,
departments that used to be really competitive to get hired at now are accepting lateral transfers. They used to have 1,000 applicants at the city of Raleigh, and then they had to hire lateral transfers from other places because they just couldn't get the people in. So like,
absolutely, and that was just the thing too, because like in Florida, when I first started, you had to pay to go through the fire academy. You had to pay to go through the fire academy to get fire one and fire two, your ops and awareness, and then you had to pay to go through EMT. Spending $8,000 to go to these classes to hope that you can get a job.
wow.
When the cities put out their announcements, you got hundreds and hundreds of people from all over Florida that are putting in for these jobs. You know, so being like having that too, like that's a lot of motivation because you're like, I just spent 8 grand. I got to make this back. I got to get hired somewhere.
That's
You
right.
know, and a lot of people, it was depressing because a lot of people couldn't get hired. A lot of them couldn't pass the physical agility test. Everybody gets into the fire academy because you're paying for it. It's like a community college. Um, they weed people out. You do your yeah.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like going through a regular fire department academy.
Right.
So the physical asset of it, people aren't able to do it, but then when they get hired with these jobs, they still have to do the hiring process for these jobs, which is your CPAT and all that other stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's what I was getting at, Alex, is like what I meant by different is the generation
Oh yeah, yeah.
coming in.
Well, and I
The
think,
generation coming in
well,
is just completely different.
the, when I started, probably like when you started, there was no asking, I'm not gonna say why, but there was no asking why. There was one way to do things, whatever your guy told you, that whoever training you. I started at 19 with a bunch of guys who had been at Kinston for 20 plus years. They've been through a lot of fires. I mean, I was 19 and most of them were between 40 and 50 years old. Like I was scared to death of those guys. Like when I started, I was, but it wasn't as hard because I feel like that time frame, like I said, it wasn't the YouTube, the different training conferences. You won't bring in stuff back. I mean, essentially, you learned firefighter 1, 2. You went to work, and I learned the way that Kinston did things. And I feel like transitioning forward, like it's obviously our responsibility now with these new people to lead, mentor, guide them. Right now at work, I got a 20 and 21-year-old in the back seat of my truck. So like, I got two guys who are really good, but they have, they don't have the life experiences, they don't have the fire service experiences yet. And I remember being that guy, but it takes work. I say it takes work. You've got to put more effort into the new guys, maybe, to make sure that you're leading and mentoring them the right way. It just doesn't. I feel like maybe that's why some of this stuff falls off because it does take more effort. It does take more work than what it used to. But
Absolutely.
you got to be willing to do that. And I think maybe that's where some of it falls off at because there's definitely differences. It's crazy how things change from, when I was 19 to now I'm 37, and just the way I look at things and just the way that, when I come in and how I feel like that I was expected to be, and the fire service in general, firefighters coming in, you're a new guy, you shut up, you don't say nothing, you don't have an opinion until you've been here 5 years. That was stuff I was told. And, a lot of these guys come in and they ask why, they have opinions, and like you got to figure that out, right? You got to be able to go with that. But it takes work, like to figure it all out and keep leading them. So
And so with us, like our academy, um, it's right down the station, right down the road from our station. So we share an academy. We share a base with Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk. So all those guys, and a lot of those guys are also instructors for truck classes. That so I know a lot of those guys. And when I come to these classes to help, whether it's with force entry, pulling lines, or whatever, before as they first come in, I'm like, look, nobody cares where you've been, what you've done. All that gets thrown out the window, and you learn the way we do it here. Through this academy, you're going to learn the book way. I would never tell you to throw that out when you hit the floor. I said, but whatever station you go to, they're going to have their own way of doing things. Like I got one engine that has triple A's on it, right? And that runs out with the city of Portsmouth. Everything's a flat load, you know. Our front bumper lines are the Kentland load, you know. But not every department, not every district or every station's like that. So you go to another station. First thing I do at another station, I go see what kind of lines they have on their cross lays. That way I know how to pull it instead of, fumbling around when it comes down to it, But I always tell these guys, just keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, respond when spoken to. Um, Nobody cares what you've done, where you've been. Learn it the way that we're going to teach you, and then learn it the way your captain's going to teach you. That's it.
yeah, and me and
You
Caldera
know?
just talked before about like being the new guy, like coming in, and I think there is value in, I say treating people like a new guy. We've had this debate or conversation about like people actually getting that name, new guy or new boy, and not being called by their first name and then being treated certain ways. We talked about that on a whole podcast. But when I started, I feel like that I am the way I am today because I was treated like the new guy. I was basically told to at times to shut up or whatever it was, right? Like I was good, but also there was times I may have messed up and they got on me and they, told me that this is the way that we do things. And going through those experiences back then really helped me drive today to be where I am. So I think there is big value in it, but I also don't believe in treating people like shit either. There's that fine balance of that
There's a
coming in.
good
And
point.
that
The like Craven and I have talked too on like if the two of you went to go work for a new department right now, right? Like you're 20 years on the job. And if you went somewhere
I'm the
new
new guy.
and you walked in and they're like, hey, new guy, and like treat you like you're an idiot, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a different dynamic.
I agree.
Grown man with time on the job versus an 18-year-old going in. Like, I think there is a precedence to be set for a new guy so they understand how the fire service works to treat them new. And I don't care, like if you got 1 year on the job and you've been to one fire. I mean, I want to hear about it, but like you have so much to learn. But
Yeah.
like there's still a piece like if there's more lateral transfers in today's fire service than there ever has been, I think. And like that's also another culture shift for the fire service on how to learn how to deal with that because it's like you get a guy that comes in with experience now. What do you do with him? Like, I need to treat him like he's the 18-year-old new guy, but I can't because he's grown and has experience. It's a weird, like, just another thing the fire service is going through right now, I think, that we're learning.
Yeah.
And I know Alex, you could test for this too. Like going from Winterville to Durham, like you were the first one up. You were the first one at the coffee pot making coffee. You were making tea. You were doing all your rookie jobs as a new guy,
Yeah.
and that's not a problem for me. Like
No,
when I
no.
first started going there, that wasn't a problem. And for me, what you've gone through, like I know we've talked, and I agree. Like here's the thing, man. Like I've done this job. I've been doing this for a long time. I didn't have that response when I went to a Navy region. They just left me alone. I was the first one at the coffee pot. Like I did my rookie duties,
Right.
you know, but I was never questioned about the job, um, which was different for me because as you get to talking to these guys, like when I got hired with Savannah, a year or two in, like one of my captains started talking to me about my previous experience, and then like I tell him everything that I've done and been through, and he's like, "Damn, that's pretty wild." Like, so basically, like, open up to your guys, ask them, like your new guys that have experience, like talk to them. I don't, I would never down a new guy, you know, just due to the fact that he could be really good or he could be really bad. But I'm not going to sit there and try to hurt their feelings to find out what kind of person they really are. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
you're talking about
the
stuff
fire
like,
service,
I don't know why we keep
yeah.
just ears every time.
But like the fire service now, like, you know, it's like you said, like you're 20 years in and you're going to treat me like a child. Absolutely not.
Well,
You know,
I think you were talking about a while
I'm not
ago,
going to
like,
do that with anybody.
I guess we got internet problems. Or something. But you were talking about a while ago, like, you tell people, you don't, you guys, my brain is like foggy for some reason right this second. I'm jacking it up. Essentially, you don't want to hear, stuff where they come from, you will learn our way. But like, there's a difference when you're in a fire academy versus once you get on shift with people and really get to know them. Obviously, there's that balance or whatever there, right? Like, so, yeah.
Absolutely. And I was just talking to my buddy from the guy I was a fire, my buddy Josh. I was a fireman with in Florida when he went to Savannah. Well, he got hired back in Florida, and he got put at a busy station. And I say busy, it's nothing like Savannah Fire, but some of his guys were like, he was like, "Oh, Savannah fireman, like, oh, how many fires did you catch?" He's like, "Few," just like kept it very mild and brief, And the guy was like, "Oh, I've already had five this year." He goes, "No, my whole career." And Josh is like, How long you been on?" 5 years. So Josh's response to that is like, he was like, just go look at their Facebook page, go look at their Instagram page. And these guys came back, they're like, "Damn, you've seen a lot of fires." you know and it's just as simple as not even telling, like, not even pleasing. They're like, "Oh, you've been to a lot of fires." I've been to a few. Like just keeping it simple. and
Remaining
and
humble.
once they once they, yeah, very humble. And once they saw, they're like, "Oh man, this guy's seen some stuff. This guy's got experience. You know, maybe we shouldn't treat him like that." You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
how people are treated when they've
Oh, yeah.
got 20, 10, 15 years on,
Well, sometimes you got to
and
prove yourself, or you wind up proving yourself to people. And sometimes, I mean, it was the same way when I transitioned to where I'm at now. I got hired as a driver, but nobody knew me. They didn't know what I was
yeah,
capable of, whether I was good, bad, or whatever. And I just found that the more I consistently did the right thing and showed them that I was decent at my job, the more they started trusting me. And, essentially, I proved myself to them, I feel like. And that's what happens, I think, whenever you get people in, if they're humble and they're not, bragging about all the stuff that they allegedly did, and they actually can mask up good or force a door, and are willing to learn and do the simple things you ask them to do. I mean, they start proving themselves, and you're going to be more willing to hear that feedback from them about different things. And whatever it is, training, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like for that too is like, um, I guess like just I'd lost my whole train of thought there.
It's all good. It's all
I
good.
had something
I do
good
it
to
all the
say as
time.
you were talking, and I was like, but yeah, just and like I pass it on to everybody. Like, once your crew gets to know you, like your whole demeanor, everything's going to change for you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, um,
Sometimes that's a
and
big thing. Um, is like sitting down and truly getting to know your people and like you know I've worked with the captain I'm with now for 6 years and it's like it he and I can still sit down and I can tell him stories about me and it just gets to know each other a little bit more but like sometimes just sitting down and getting to know your people. Craven and I still talk all the time about things and he tells me about his life, I
Oh,
tell him
yeah.
about mine. I mean it and like just getting to know each other more helps
Yeah.
helps a lot of time with crew bonding and
Oh, yeah.
integrity and
100%.
um some of these.
and to that too is like, one of my old Rescue One captains who passed, but like when I first got to that station, he was like, "Your dad's Paul Chapman." I was like, "Yep."
Mhm.
And like me and him hit it off like that, right off the rip, just
Sure.
because of my dad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop me from doing the things like that I had to do. You know, um, but we talked about that. We talked about the fire service. He came from Boston. He was a Boston guy, so I'm a huge Bruins fan. So between music and hockey, like we hit it off well. Um, and
Yeah.
there's some guys. I just had one reach out to me the other day. He left Savannah Fire, moved to Florida, and he reached out. He's like, "Man, I just was thinking about you. I miss you. Thinking about all the good times we had at Station 3."
Yeah.
And we ended up texting for probably an hour after that. Um, just talking about the good times. He's like, "Man, I'm so proud of you. Like the way you came in, handled yourself to where you're at now. Like, good for you, man. Like, I'm proud of you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Man, that's awesome."
Yeah, it's good to reminisce on the old days and
Mhm.
reach out to people and do that kind of stuff. I think it goes along with what we're talking about, trying keeping that mental health in check and stuff. But yeah, man.
And that's just the thing too, is like it's you guys. Like I'm always whatever you guys need. If you need me to drive down there right now, I'm coming.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
know,
same
f-
here, man.
for my boys.
Yeah, we'll load up and go up there. Yeah, up there too. Whatever you need.
Going to hang out with the Navy
Yeah.
SEALs on
That's
Virginia
right.
Beach.
That's right. Well, man, look, we we appreciate you coming on. You Calder obviously called me this morning, like first thing. I just got home from work, kind of last minute, but I'm really glad you were able to come on and like you're one of. I know when I met you, like you're just like a really fun, wild dude that fun to be around. So, Calder, you got anything?
No, yeah, again, Chappie, thanks for coming on. Um, we wanted to kind of part two what we talked about the other
Yeah,
week. We weren't able to go super in depth, but I hope some things in here, like, I don't know if I said it recently, but I heard it somewhere. I don't remember if I heard it on a podcast. I think I did, but they had said, if you're given a platform to be able to use and to be able to help, use it. Like, some people may call me like I'm always on social media. Well, like it helps people. It helps me. But like I might post a picture of me cleaning some tools and then like 50 people send me pictures back of they could just clean tools too because they were like, oh shit, Caldera just did it. And they're doing it too. Well, like we're making wins for the fire service and we're affecting it for the positive. And like that's the thing. Even just doing this podcast, like we wanted to do a part two to the other week because obviously like this is something that a lot of every fireman goes through, the mental health, the ups and downs, the marathon run, so I think we hit a lot more of what we wanted to talk about, and
yeah,
hopefully this helps people. I mean, if anything, it helped the three of us, just being able to get on and talk. But
Absolutely.
at the end of the
And
day.
I will say too, Alex, like when you did send me those pictures and videos of you cleaning tools, what I send you right back. I think I did 6 tools that day.
Oh yeah.
All hooks, man.
Yep.
All hooks. Brought them all the way down to the polished and painted them all back up, man. Taped them up. And I was like, he's doing it. I'm gonna do it.
Oh
That was
yeah.
contagious.
And that's
Contagious.
good. Like that's and it really is because then like the guys at my work start seeing me do that. They're like, "You need help?" I was like, "No, back off.
Go do your own.
I'm doing this. You got your own engine."
Yep.
But listen, man, I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's always a blessing to see you guys and get to talk, whether it's on this or out in the field, doing the work. So
Sure.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, cool. Well, if you want to, you got anything else? If you want to hang out for just a second, I'll end this, but we'll chat for just a second. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been Sean Chapman, and we'll see you guys next time.